tough start to life for any dog, and I mean, she's clearly lucky to be here.
On this week's Bondi Vet Top 5.
You know, it's one thing to hear about a piglet born with only one trotter. It's another one to have it in your arms.
He did have a really big swelling on the left side of his stomach.
I'm not a big fan of those legs, though.
He clearly is a very abnormally put together dog.
At number 5 today.
It's not every day I'm out in this part of the country, but this is no ordinary case. A piglet born with only one trotter. She's clearly beaten the odds just to get to this point, so I'm going to see if I can help her out.
Chris is in Carrara, about 2.5 hours southwest of Brisbane. He's responding to a call for help from some big-hearted farmers. They're worried about Stubby, a very special baby.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
It's Bella, right?
Yep.
G'day,
Nice
how
to
you
meet you,
going?
Chris.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Tim.
How are you, Tim? Now, where's our patient?
She's inside still.
Oh, wow.
So this is our little Stubby, and she was born without 3 trotters.
Wow. Look at that face. She is
Just beautiful.
extraordinary. I pick up Stubby and realise that, you know, it's one thing to hear about a piglet born with only one trotter. It's another one to have it in your arms. And look at her right now, she's got one hell of a struggle on her hands. Was she born like this?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time we've ever had born like this. I don't even know if she would have got through the night because she didn't have the trotters to hold on to her teat and she would have just got pushed out of the way. So I held her up to her mum's nipple.
Wow. So you knew straight away she just couldn't survive?
She wouldn't have, no. Stubby, she's only been in our home for 3 weeks, but she's already a huge part of the family and a huge part of my heart.
What worries me is the fact that without those trotters, her life is going to be truly limited.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help you
Yeah.
and see if we can find some sort of solution here that's going to be a long-term fix for her.
Yeah, because I don't want her to be in pain or anything.
No.
I want her to have a good little life.
Yeah.
Our vet said to put Stubby down, so Chris is our last resort.
At the moment, she's truly up against it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've seen animals with one leg deformed, but to have 3 like this,
Yeah.
it's a big issue. There's no doubt that Stubby is right up against it. I mean, normally addressing a problem in 1 or 2 legs, that's a big challenge. But with 3, she's facing an uphill battle. All right, I think the first thing I'd like to see is just how well she's getting around right now.
Sure.
That gives us a good starting point.
Yep.
And then from there we can work out exactly what we're facing and what we need to look at.
Okay.
There's no doubt the pressure's on. I mean, Belle and Tim have got me out here in the hope of coming up with a solution. And what I find interesting is when she does walk, she doesn't ever get her legs even close to being vertical.
She's got to think twice about where she puts her foot down.
And I think she's doing that because she knows that those legs of hers are very sensitive. They don't have the padding underneath. They don't have that hoof to support her. And each little twig and each, I guess, little pebble that she hits would actually hurt her. My concern is that if Stubby was born with these defects, then there's a chance she could have others. So a full check over is essential. The inside of her mouth looks okay, no cleft palate. Her neck, her ribs, they all feel fine. And when I listen around her heart, I'm hearing very clear beats, which is important. So really, so far so good.
That's good.
That's good.
But we need to get to these legs though. So you can see she's getting these little pressure sores here. So that's where she's contacting the ground when she takes those steps. And this one's a little bit more raw too.
Yeah.
So while she's managing to get around right now, you know, there are some warning signs that potentially some trouble brewing there.
Yep.
The issue we've got is without those trotters, her life is going to be truly limited. Because she just can't get around and carry around any sort of weight without them.
And she's going to grow.
Yeah.
The enormity of little Stubby's problem is beginning to sink in.
I'm just worried that, you know, we can't do anything to help her and that you know, I can't provide her a life that, you know, she deserves.
So we need to find a way to help her support her growing weight.
I'm not
Do
sure.
you have any ideas?
Yeah,
I'm glad you
I do. As Stubby grows, her weight is going to become immense, and those stumps just structurally won't be able to support her. Plus, she only has a thin layer of skin covering them. So right now, the pressure is on to make sure this solution is one that works. All right, Belle, you may have the most important job of all here. You have to keep our little miss still. What I want to do first of all is clean up these feet here.
The energetic baby has captured the hearts of owners Belle and Tim, who are desperate for her to have a future.
Good girl.
So what we're going to do is actually going to cover up these feet here, so we can't afford for them to have any infections there that could get any worse. All right, so what we're going to do now is all about trying to give her some sort of durability and some sort of comfort with those feet. Okay. So if we don't protect them, those pressure sores are going to develop into big open wounds. And as she gets bigger, that's going to be catastrophic for her. Basically, I'm trying to mimic exactly what nature didn't provide Stubby with. So normally, she would have a layer of fat on the base of her foot and then the harder material over the top of the trotter that acts as protection. So instead of that, I've got the padding, which is going to provide the cushioning. Then on top of that, the bandage provides the protection. All right, we're ready for a fitting.
Put her head up.
Yeah.
Let's sneak one on the back here.
Yeah, okay.
If we can. Like a glove.
Beautiful.
So now we'll tape this one on.
You're not being hurt. I think Chris's idea is awesome. I'm open to anything that lets Stubby just live a normal life.
Okay.
Moment of truth.
So, we now have 3 feet covered.
Yep.
So she's all bandaged up, but the big question is, can she walk? Basically, if she can't walk, then she just won't be able to survive. It's a big moment.
It is.
A lot of work gone into this.
Yep.
So let's see how these new feet go.
In Carrara near Brisbane, Chris and farmers Belle and Tim are about to find out if Stubby's new prosthetics will allow her to walk normally for the first time.
She's tired. Come on, it's all right.
If this doesn't work, the tiny piglet has no future.
They feel a bit different, sweetie.
Yeah.
Chris puts Stubby on the ground and she just kind of stops for a second. Stubby, what are you doing? And then she starts taking steps and you can just see the look on her face like, oh my God, I'm not in any pain, and just the freedom she has to walk, and that just meant the world to me.
The thing about these is they're not necessarily all-terrain and all-weather. It's something that I reckon is worth trying here. Rubber stoppers off the base of chairs. These
What do you think, Stubbs?
could become an all-terrain form of transport. So I just wonder if we put her little foot in there.
Yep.
Look who has
A new trotter.
their own rubber boot.
That is pretty special.
The local hardware store isn't where I normally start looking for a solution to a piglet's problem. But funnily enough, these rubber stoppers look to be perfect. With her little gumboots on, I can't see why she can't get around the farm just like the other piglets. Oh, that's pretty good.
That is.
She's awesome, eh?
She's looking stoked. Look at her. That's seconds after she's had them on. So this will take hours, it'll take days for her to get used to walking in them, but she'll be running in them.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Stubbs?
Obviously in the future, as she does get bigger, she's going to need more help. She'll need bigger rubber shoes, but in Belle and Tim, she's got some very handy allies.
Thank you very much.
No worries at all.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Before Chris came, we didn't know what the future would be for Stubby, but after he's seen her and spent so much time with her, it seems like her future's going to be really bright.
Number 4.
Almost there.
In Sydney, Audrey and vet nurse Bree are on their way to check up on one of their very special little patients.
Look at my little boy. Hi, baby. Hi. You look very bright. Hi, Tiki.
2 weeks ago, cat lover Zarima rescued a 4-week-old kitten after he was found by the side of a road with a shocking deformity.
We'll go check you out. Do you want to come into the van and I'll have a good look at him in there?
I don't know if Mum had left him behind or someone would have just, unfortunately, maybe just dumped him. Because he did have a really big swelling on the left side of his stomach, and the swelling was actually almost as big as him.
How's our baby? He has grown.
He's grown half.
Because I remember I fit him in my whole hand before.
Honestly, as soon as I took him to the hospital, they did tell me that there was no chance, and the kindest thing to do would be to let him go.
Okay.
And then I thought, no, I wanted to hear from Audrey. And of course, straight away she was in there and she's like, no, we're going to do everything we can for him. We're going to give the surgery a go and see if he can pull through.
Without emergency surgery, the little kitten's chances were slim.
We're really, really worried because he's got this big swelling inside his thigh, and we're quite concerned that it's a hernia and some of his bladder has come through and his small intestine. So we have to have a look, see if we can pop it all back in and hopefully give him a fighting chance.
Everything just looks massive in this baby. I actually didn't think he was going to make it at all. Initially, we thought he maybe had a small tear in his abdominal muscles, and that's where all the organs were herniating through. Once we went inside, it was a completely different story. We actually found he had not much muscle on one side, and the muscle had completely torn away from the wall. So it was a pretty big surgery, but we got there in the end.
Now it's time to find out if the surgery has worked.
The good news is all his hernia repair, so that muscle repair that we did on his abdominal wall, that's all stayed because I can feel that's intact. And there's no, intestines or bladder coming through like before. But that fluid's coming from somewhere, we need to find out where.
The kitten appears to be recovering well from the surgery, but there's a new problem.
And we've been monitoring this for the last 2 weeks and noticed that there is a bit of fluid. Not sure where it's coming from, but I'm really worried it may be the first surgery not working out, or is there something else that's happening? We tested it the other day and it did come back very suspicious as urine. So if there's a small tear in the bladder, and it would be small because it builds up over a couple of weeks, we've got to go in and repair it, yeah. It's always a little bit of a blow, when you've done this big surgery and they've been recovering so well and then you hit this hiccup. But I think, the main aim is trying to find out what's going on and fix it as soon as we can.
Auntie Audrey and Auntie Bree are going to look after you.
We're going to look after you, okay? Zarima is a really nice girl. She rescues all these kittens and spends her own money, repairing them and making them better. So I think maybe she's called him Little Boy because she doesn't want to get too attached, but she's completely in love with him.
I come across so many animals that need help, or especially cats. There's so many stray cats and they don't speak, they don't have a voice. So we need to do it for them, and I want to give him a good life.
Be a brave boy. Last one was very brave. You're dying to come out, don't you? Oh no! You don't want to come out. I was feeling nervous and a little bit emotional before because, just seeing how much Mum loves him and, how much he's been through and him being so little. But now I think I'm on that role of let's find out what's going on, let's get him better.
The 4-week-old kitten has already undergone major surgery to repair a nasty hernia.
So we're just going to do some plain x-rays first. I just want to see how everything's sitting in the abdomen since the last big surgery.
Audrey's concerned there's still something seriously wrong with the tiny kitten.
X-rays. There's too much fluid in there.
So much fluid.
To have urine floating around in the abdomen means that there's a tear somewhere or there's some sort of leakage coming from his urinary tract, whether it's his bladder or the tubes coming in and out of the bladder, we just don't know. So because he's so tiny, he's so young, his body condition, he's very small, the anaesthetic is always risky. So we just got to watch him closely, try and make it as safe as we can. So I popped an anaesthetic tube in, and that just makes sure that we can keep his depth under control. And then once I'm happy with how he's going, I'm actually going to catheterize his penis into his bladder and start injecting some dye to have a look. It's like threading a needle but harder because they've got this little bend, so you've got to maneuver it really gently, and then obviously everything's minuscule size. So what I want to see is that dye filling up the bladder wall and just see if it's leaking out from anywhere. I hope that there's an obvious tear in the bladder and we can go in and repair it.
That's flowing, it's flowing, it's flowing.
X-rays. And as we take more and more X-rays, I'm feeling even more concerned because I'm not seeing what I want to see. I actually want to see a tear in the bladder because I know I can go in and I know I can fix that today. But it's filling nicely, there aren't any leakages, so now I'm even more confused. I'm going to say let's inject another 0.2. I'm going to inject half first.
Yep. Oh no.
So I look up in the monitor and I can see his heart's dropping, and it's dropping really low, and I go into panic mode. We need to stop everything we're doing and try and get that heart rate back up again. I just give him atropine to try and get his heart rate up again. Oh, baby. It's going up. It's going up. The heart rate's going up slowly.
Just keep the oxygen on though.
Bit of a scare. Baby anesthetic, it's always scary. Whenever you're doing an anesthetic and you're concentrating on what you have to do and then there's an anesthetic complication, there's a lot of pressure because you're trying to do the procedure, you're trying to get the anesthetic stable, and at the back of my mind, I'm just seeing Zarima, you know, really holding on to little boy, and he means everything to her. So there's so much pressure in an emergency situation.
Little boy is finally stable, but the X-rays haven't revealed the cause of the worrying leak in his abdomen. So Audrey now wants him to get specialist treatment.
Hello.
Look who's here.
Hello.
He's pooing already.
It's time to tell anxious owner Zarima that her precious kitten's future is still uncertain.
The bladder does fill up with contrast, or the stain that we put in, and I can see the nice balloon of the bladder, and I can actually see, you know, the tube where it comes out through his penis. I can see all of that looks great. There's no leakages there. So then the question's coming, where is it coming from?
I honestly don't know what to think. We were hoping it would be perhaps a tear in the bladder or something that we could repair, but at the moment, there's a big question mark. We don't know. That's kind of what I was afraid of. I love you.
Oh, chicken. What are we going to do with you?
Hi, Zarima.
Oh, hello.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Hello.
This is little boy.
It is.
Hello, little boy. Here, kitty cat. What's... Oh, hello. Ow. You got me already.
He's quite bright. And, in a way, if a cat's got all this urine in his tummy, he really should be much sicker. I guess the possibility is because it's been there for literally half his life, maybe he's just thinking, well, that's my life. Oh, hello.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's my life, and okay, and they get on. So you might have adapted to it. An ultrasound is a really easy way to have a look inside. Don't need to anaesthetise him, don't need to sedate him, and if we see some fluid, we can get a sample.
I'm definitely happy that he's in your care.
Right.
And he's in everyone's care.
Yeah.
And I think he can feel that too, because he won't stop purring and playing, and I think he likes all of you because he knows that you're going to help him.
I don't think you'll get anywhere near the nurses because I'm going to carry you around because I can put you in my pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Andrew.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Come on, little boy. Where are you going? We'll get you sorted. I guess what we're trying to find out with little boy is, has he still got fluid in his tummy? And if he has, what that fluid is. Because if it's urine, he's in a heap of trouble.
You can't imagine anyone living life having fluid constantly building up in their abdomen all over. So I am scared.
There's some urine in it.
A little bit of urine, yeah. Oh, little boy. You're a real wiggle puss. Do you think that's an amount you'd be able to sample?
But as little boy's ultrasound gets underway, the results are not what anyone was expecting.
You're okay. I'm looking at this ultrasound and the first thing that strikes me is there's not a huge amount of fluid in there. I don't think there's much going on, and the bits that I can see of his kidneys, they look okay, so it's really kind of exciting. I think really from my point of view it's just there's no fluid there, which considering what it was a few days ago is great. So given what we're seeing on the ultrasound, he might actually be okay, and I don't think he's going to need surgery.
Hello.
How you going? Come on inside and we'll have a chat.
Hi.
So first and foremost, the ultrasound showed there is no fluid in there.
Any more?
None. It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone?
It's gone. Gone.
Really? All of it's gone?
Yeah, it's all gone. He'd had a major trauma and it had been there a while and was just all irritated and the fluid was building up. And now with the tincture of time and TLC, it's gone.
I cannot believe it because so many times I've been told, it's time to say goodbye.
Oh.
Everything's gonna be okay? The moment I got him, I knew, I was like, I could never let you go. That's why you have to make it through. And he showed us that he wants to. Good people have looked after you. Yes? He's so full of life.
This week's number 3.
Just had a desperate call from a lady who's really worried about a puppy who's just unable to use a leg, so I'm trying to get there as soon as I can.
Hi Chris, come in.
Thank you. You're Sheena?
Yes, Sheena.
Nice to meet you.
You too. This is Munro and this is Millie.
Okay. Which is the one with the problem?
Munro.
Just want to see how she goes here with her sister. Come on, guys. Here.
She's unable to take more than a few steps and then just falls to the ground. Her legs fall apart. She's very tired. She gets breathless easily. Come on, quick, puppy, come.
Come on.
She's trying.
You look in those eyes and she's incredibly frustrated because she wants to be a puppy, but she can't because she can't move.
Come on. Munro, come. Come on. Come. Good girl. Good girl.
You expect that puppies are going to be a little bit clumsy, but you never see this situation where those legs just slip out from underneath them and they collapse. The concern I've got is that if she can't support her weight when she's 5 weeks old and weighs, a couple of kilos, what hope does she have when she's 20 kilos?
Chris has a suspicion about what's causing this severe condition. He's hoping he's wrong.
You want to see her chest almost goes inwards? It's almost concave there. The big thing I notice is her chest. It feels flat. The sternum doesn't have any great point to it, and her chest doesn't have any depth, and that's just a classic sign of swimmer syndrome.
This deformed chest cavity forces the puppy to lie flat, compressing its lungs, causing difficulty breathing and lethargy.
It is almost like she's swimming.
Yes.
You just see her legs spreading out like this, like she's almost doing breaststroke.
Yeah, it looks like she's swimming.
This condition is pretty rare. A lot of vets go through their entire career having never seen a case of it.
Munro. Come on. I've heard most people put these dogs down. I couldn't do that. I'm just hoping that he can help her. Come on, Munro. Come on.
50% of puppies that have this, that aren't helped out, will die. We need to actually act fairly quickly on this, because if we don't do anything, then this will be her.
Yeah.
And it's not much of a life.
No, it isn't.
What I might do first of all is actually just get a weight for her.
That'd be great. Millie?
Millie first.
At the Bondi clinic, worried owner Sheena has arrived with 5-week-old sisters Munro and Millie.
And what about you? Okay, so she's a little bit smaller, which we'd expect given the fact she's had, I guess, this slower start to life.
Exactly.
Little Munro is unable to walk, and Chris is worried she may be suffering a rare condition known as swimmer syndrome.
I know you just want to sleep, but we do need to see how you get around. Okay? It's so obvious just how much of a difference there is between these two puppies. Not only is Munro 10% lighter in weight compared to Millie, but you look at her and there's just no energy there.
She should be playing all the time, having a little cat nap, up again playing, but she just doesn't want to participate.
Yeah, Munro, your sister's going to take the hit first up, all right?
Chris will compare x-rays of the puppies to confirm how severely affected Munro is by swimmer syndrome.
My feeling is that Munro's is going to be quite significantly flattened and compressed, and that's why she's having trouble getting around, that's why she's having trouble breathing, and could explain everything that we're seeing. If we look at Millie's x-ray, yeah, see, there you go. So that the sternum's come further down, and it's also at more of an angle. So if you flick between the two, then you go to Munro's, it's higher and flatter. And that's the classic sign of swimmer syndrome. Because so many of these puppies are put down, there's no clear designated way to fix these guys. So we have to be a little bit creative, have to come up with our own way of fixing her. For her treatment, the first thing I want you to do is some physio, to squeeze her chest on either side to force that sternum forward. She also learns how to support weight on those back legs too. What makes this so different to any other challenge I've faced with a dog before is this isn't teaching a dog to walk again. This is teaching a dog to walk for the first time.
I just don't like to see her in pain. But, well, nobody does, but yeah, we have to do these things to help her.
I guess we have to realise here that there are no guarantees that what we're going to do with Munro is going to make a difference, but you have to try, because if you don't, she's going to be locked in that splayed position for life, and that's not a life. Sheena?
Hi, Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You off to the beach?
No, there's a purpose behind this. You'll find out, yeah.
Look, it's a present for you.
Look at this.
Oh, this looks nice.
Okay. Nice. Munro's about to experience the next part of the therapy. This has a plaster mould inside it. This actually means that her chest can't lay flat.
Okay.
So it's like a big V there. This will actually push the weight out to the side of her chest and in a way do what we were trying to do before.
With the exercises.
With the exercises.
Great. Look at this. It's a new wardrobe. Millie will be jealous.
Hopefully that sternum of hers will actually grow outwards and let her lungs really expand. She's all bound up like a leg of lamb at the moment.
Oh, that's it. I'm not too sure about this. She does look like a leg of lamb.
We're not in the greatest terms right now, are we? This is one of those ideas I had swimming around in my head. Should have pointed out it wasn't a finished idea.
It's like a little G-string.
It wasn't my intention to make your dog a G-string. But yes, it does look a G-string, right? My invention's taken a few little adjustments, but in the end, it's doing its job.
Good girl.
Oh, it's good girl.
Great.
Hey, look at you go.
Wow.
Munro is only 5 weeks of age, so in the best case scenario, she'd only need to have this harness on for about 3 weeks until her chest is reshaped, she can get more air into her lungs, learn to walk properly, then the harness will be a thing of the past.
That was a good trick.
There's just one more component to Munro's full body workout. After all, what's the best exercise for a swimmer? That's very good. See, she's running.
Good girl.
She's essentially running there. The movement of swimming for a dog is exactly the same as the movement of walking. She's motoring. I mean, she's never moved those legs this fast ever before. This is the only swim school in Australia where dog paddle is actually not only allowed but encouraged. If there was ever any doubt, this just proves that those back legs, they work. They work perfectly well. They just need to know how. This is teaching her how.
I never expected to see her swim. I thought she would just cry a lot, but she actually swam. Just fantastic. Those legs work.
Look at you go, huh? Look at you.
The water therapy is already making a difference, but there are still no guarantees Munro will ever be able to walk normally.
Follow instructions, exercises, funky new outfit, aqua aerobics. You got it? You do that, you might be okay. I really think between the family's commitment and little Munro's determination, this is a team that deserves to succeed. So I just hope they will.
Here he comes. Woo!
Hello.
Run, girls, run, run.
Oh, look, he's at the front. Hey, our swimmer got a land legs back, huh?
Happy as Larry?
It's 3 weeks since Munro's therapy began and the little Staffy has made an amazing recovery.
This is part of the physio now, is it?
Yep.
Munro's caught up and she looks fantastic. Everything about her screams out normal puppy. I think it's pretty safe to say she's making up for lost time right now.
Oh, she's full of life. Yeah, she does everything the other one does. If you didn't know anything was wrong with her, you would never know that there was something wrong with her. Come on.
incredible transformation over just a few weeks to see her go from just being a really sad little girl to watch to now being so happy in every step she makes. And a lot of people were saying that Monroe didn't have a life to lead, but we took a chance, and you can see today it was a chance worth taking.
You've cured a swimmer puppy. How good does that feel?
Number 2.
Jake, do you want some lunch? What have I got?
In Sussex, retired nurse Beth is hoping Scott can help her beloved boy Jake.
You hungry boy?
Beth adopted the Shih Tzu cross 6 years ago as a rescue from the RSPCA.
My first impression of Jake was I thought he was gorgeous and I wanted to have him immediately. Go and eat up, darling. There's a good boy, eat it. The only thing I know about Jake's past is that he was inbred, but his legs were not too bad at that stage.
Jake's bowed legs are a defect that he's had since birth, but recently, Beth has noticed him struggling more and more.
His legs were bent, but he did not seem to be in a lot of pain when we first got him, because he was walking a long way. I could walk the best part of a mile with him.
Come on then.
And nowadays, just walking up the road seems to really wear him out.
Let's get home. Good boy.
Jake isn't managing very well at all. When he comes off the settee at night, he almost stumbles off. 9 times out of 10, I pick him up and put him down, and he's very wobbly on his legs. He's such a playful little dog. It just breaks my heart to see him like that. I wrote to Scott in the hope that he can actually help sort Jake's legs out and get him out of pain for me.
Jake is booked in with Scott tomorrow.
I just want him mended, and I'm sure Scott can help get that sorted for me.
Having watched the show, I wondered if you could give me some advice on how to get my dog out of pain. You can see from the photos, his front legs are very crooked. Gee, wow. See that sort of heart shape going on in between his...
Totally bent inwards, aren't they?
Yeah. Please, can you help me? Of course we can.
Absolutely.
Look forward to seeing him coming in, and we'll see what we can do about those poor boy's legs.
Come on.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome to Richmond. Mwah. Mwah. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Nice seeing you.
Yes. Hello, and you must be Jake. Hello, champ. Hello, you've got a beautiful face. I'm not a big fan of those legs, though. Jake walks a little bit like a sort of silverback walks through the jungle, elbows out and wrists close together. He clearly is a very abnormally put together dog.
Over the last 6 months, it has got a lot worse.
And is one leg worse than the other, in your opinion?
I think the right leg is the worst.
Okay.
But they're both very bad, as you can obviously see from the way he walks.
So I just want to have a little feel.
He will not like that.
You don't like your legs being played with, is that right?
Does not like his legs being touched at all.
I'm just checking all of his joints here, Beth, and I think I'm pretty sure that it's going to be discomfort in his elbows. Yeah, there's lots of kind of clicking and grinding going on, and he's just unimpressed about me playing with it, aren't you, champ? Hey, even though you're a very affable boy.
Okay.
And you know what? This is a happy, friendly, personable dog. So that's not a life for him to lead, is it?
No, I mean, when I first got him, we were going out 3-4 times a day. And now even to get him out once a week is really must-do.
He's clearly got some issues, which is why you're here with me.
Yes.
I'm going to sort you out. Okay, good boy.
Downstairs at his Richmond practice, Scott and Nurse Jess are anaesthetising Jake so they can x-ray his legs.
Right, so do you want to take him through, Jess? Got him.
Come on, mate.
Giving Jake a sedation allows me not only to have him still for x-rays, but just to examine him a little bit better. He really has the most awkward shape forelimbs, and the best way to see those better is with an x-ray.
X-ray. Ooh, that's pretty shocking to look at. Poor Jake. Not looking good.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
He's your boy.
Oh,
You want to sit with Mummy?
he looks very sleepy, boy. I love Jake so much. He's my companion. Love him loads. Best thing that happened to me. I just want him out of pain.
Do you want to have a look at some of the pictures?
Yes, please.
Be prepared for this. This is your dog's leg. And just shows how much he's been suffering.
That is terrible.
He's just shown what a brave boy he's been all these years, eh?
Never realised it was that bad.
Jake has a condition known as antebrachial growth deformity. This condition can manifest in lots of different ways, but for this boy, because both limbs are the same, my guess is that at some point the growth plate, which is the part of the bone which allows bones to elongate, has fused on just one of the bones. The other bone in the forelimb continues to grow, and so that leads to a sort of banana-shaped limb.
Oh,
And also,
that is really bad.
Beth, we need to remind ourselves that you didn't breed this dog. You just rescued him, yeah? So he's lucky he's with you.
Yes.
The cause of this particular condition, unfortunately, is genetic. This is not a dog that's come from good stock. His parents, at least one of them, would have had these same angular deformities, which would have led to that dog having discomfort in middle age. But instead of going, you know what, that's not a great dog to breed from, they've bred it anyway, and now Jake's here with the same problem, and that's just ignorant.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked at how he's stood the pain. It's a very brave little dog.
These joints have been through a lot of deterioration for a long time. And unfortunately, right now, it's just got too much for him. And so he's gone from being extremely brave and coping to not coping.
It's just shocking. I feel like crying my eyes out for him.
The key here is to get the best advice we possibly can get you. And that's going to a specialist, because you can see that this is a fairly special case. I'm going to send him to my mate Michael Hamilton, who's a specialist orthopaedic surgeon, who will hopefully get to grips with Jake and try and make his problem a little better. I don't need to do any more walking, so shall we have a little cuddle and walk out with Mummy? Shall we? Eh? Good boy.
I feel that now I've seen Scott, that we're going to be getting somewhere, and hopefully Jake will be out of pain relatively soon.
Come on then, you big baby, eh?
He's a good boy. It's okay. He's a good boy.
Hello, Beth. How are you?
Hello.
I'm Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hello,
How do you
Michael.
do?
Nice meeting you.
Hello, Jake.
This is Jake.
Right then.
So come on then.
Come on in, my little friend. Here we go.
Come on, darling. Since I saw Scott, Jake has deteriorated quite a lot. His walking is really bad. So I just need something done for him now.
It's interesting because he's got his feet straight, but it looks like his elbow's pointing out to the side.
Yes.
Right then, little man, let me have a little feel. Are you friendly enough? Watching Jake move around, he's got the very, very typical type of deformity that we see in these little dogs. If you just hold his head just there for me. Okay. As he's grown, one of the bones has prevented the other bone growing straight, and they have these very, very, very twisted legs. So I'm trying to hold his elbow here straight, like this, but with his elbow straight, his foot is probably 90 degrees rotated. Now, when he walks, he wants to put his foot flat on the floor. His elbow sticks out almost at 90 degrees. I mean, that is quite the bendy leg you have there. His left-hand side, that foot is flat on the floor, the elbow is twisted out, but it's not. He's managing on the left-hand side, isn't he?
Yes.
So the good news, a little bit of reassurance for you, Beth, is he's not painful at all on his wrist. I think his major problem is just the fact that when he walks, it's buckling over on him. You know, it's more it's what we would call a mechanical lameness rather than an actual painful thing.
Okay.
So I think we should try and straighten his front right leg.
Yeah.
I think the left-hand side might actually be okay, to be honest with you. And the whole thing that we're aiming for here is to have an elbow that's lined up with the paw. Yes, we've got some good news for Beth, and there are some options to try and straighten this leg, but I won't celebrate until he's all fixed, because it's complicated surgery. And if we do that, he's going to be able to walk on it, and hopefully we'll get a good outcome for you.
Yes. Michael doesn't reckon that Jake's in much pain at all, and that he'll be able to operate. So I'm really, really happy about that. It's the best news ever. Hi, darling. You be good.
You going to come with me? Straighten this leg? Let's do it. Right then, little man. Count backwards from 10. Tell me about your weekend. The whole point of today's op is to make sure when Jake tries to walk, his paw lands flat on the floor. Right. Have we got plate benders and pliers? The plan is to actually cut the bones of his forearm and put them into position where his foot is flat on the floor and then stabilise them like that, and hopefully he can then walk.
Assisting Michael are nurses Louise and Kim.
Right. So if my calculations are correct, we're going to make our cut about 25 millimetres above his wrist joint. So we're going to get in there, cut the ulnar. These are really, really complicated procedures because it's not just a simple twist or a simple bend. So we're going to cut the bones. We can plan it for as long as we like and decide where to make the cuts and at what angles and all the rest. But once you've made your cuts, you then pretty much just got to try and eyeball it in theatre and just get it right. Now what we're going to do is cut the radius. Now the radius is the bone that's causing all the problem. And we actually make the cut parallel with this top part of the bone. Creating, in effect, a ball and socket joint here, and then we can manipulate the bottom half 360 degrees to straighten as best we can. Easier said than done because this is actually quite a small section of bone down here, so yeah, okay. So let's just keep that straight up there. All the time we're checking that his elbow and the paw are moving in the same plane, because when he wakes up he's going to want to put his elbow like that, and if his paw doesn't go like that, he's not going to be able to walk. I think that looks pretty good. So you can do all the planning in the world, but at the end of the day, really it's kind of, what does it look like on the table? So I think we're good to try and stick a plate on there now.
A metal plate is used to hold the bones in their new realigned position.
We've got 2 screws in the bottom. We've only got 1 screw in the top because this is the last chance we've got to do any like fine adjustments. So we just got to just triple check that we're happy with that. But I think that looks quite good.
A second plate will give added stability.
That'll do, right. On the table, that looks good. So as long as the elbow and the wrist are in alignment, that paw should land flat. So we just need to check it looks good on the x-rays now. We're looking at the pre and post x-rays here. So this x-ray on the left-hand side, we have a straight-on elbow with a sideways paw. That means that between the elbow and the paw, there's a twist at the very least. And the x-ray on the right-hand side is post-surgery. So we now have a straight elbow and we've got a straight-on paw. So hopefully now he'll be able to walk.
Come on, little man.
Jake will sleep off the anaesthetic before going home with Beth later tomorrow.
Happy. So far, so good. Come on, Jake, let's go. Good boy. Keep going.
A day after surgery, Jake is ready to go home.
Right, Jakey, someone in here to see you. Look, here we go.
Owner Beth has been anxiously waiting to see how the surgery has gone.
Come on in. Come on in.
Jake! Jake!
Come on, Jakey, show your mum what your new leg looks like.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you're beautiful.
I'll pop him up for you. There you go.
Hello, darling. Oh, you're a gorgeous boy. Yes, you look so much better. I'm so pleased to see you. I'm very happy to see Jake walking. Although he looked half drunk, he was walking so much better. And I think he's much happier about it all now. Mike was incredible.
He's a little bit dopey because he's just recently had some more painkillers. But very pleased. The x-rays look good. Paw looks straight. I mean, he's got a good attitude. He's keen to use that leg, so...
Wow, that is incredible.
You stand him up.
Just looks so different.
Stand him up like that.
Gosh.
That's kind of... Now, it's still got a little bit of a bow that way, which is fine. We've taken about probably 30 degrees off on the front bend, if you like. Probably about 90 degrees off on the twist. But so far, so good. As I say, he's quite dopey still. It's clear to see what Jake means to Beth. I mean, you can just see her face light up as he kind of wandered in with his nice straight leg.
You look so much better.
Yeah. Just makes me feel great. I mean, that's kind of why we do it. So, yeah, really, really happy. Right, so I'm going to hand over to Louise. She can give you a hand out to the car with him. And I'll see you guys in 6 to 8 weeks thereabouts. There you go. There you go, Louise.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Sam. Right, my
much.
pleasure. You take
Thank you.
care. Thanks, Sam.
You ready to go home? Come on in. There's a good boy. Beautiful sunshine today.
5 weeks after his operation, little Jake is enjoying a walk in the park with his owner Beth.
Good boy.
Surgery on his badly deformed right leg means it's now working a lot better, and Jake can lead an active life once again.
It was certainly the last chance for Jake going to Scott, and things are a lot better, and Jake's bouncing around. He obviously wants to play, and he's loving life again.
Well,
Hi.
hello, Beth.
Hello, Scott.
How are you, gorgeous? You're right.
I've seen you.
Mwah. Oh, thanks for the cuddle. Hello, little man. Hello, buddy. How are you? Look at you with your 2 legs on the ground. Oh, he looks fantastic. His leg looks far straighter. And how do you feel he's got on since the surgery?
He's walking so much flatter on his paw now, whereas it was really struggling. But he's so much happier. You can see it in his face, he's much happier.
Yeah, you really can. Although he's having a lovely, relaxing time, I'm quite keen to see this bionic leg in motion. Hey, come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, good boy. Well done. Yes, he's a good puppy. Yeah. Come on. Wow, Beth. Little spring lamb we've got.
Not do that before.
It's incredible. Where's the puppy? Jake, come on. Good boy. Good boy. That is great. Look at that. Jake seems to be very comfortable, and he's really got a spring in his step. It's extraordinary. Good boy. Good boy. Well done.
Never seen him run like that before. It's fabulous. I'm over the moon.
Good boy. Jake, come see me.
Scott. And writing to Scott was absolutely the best thing I ever did. And I'm so grateful to him for getting us this far.
That's a good boy.
And this week's number 1.
Hey, baby. There you go. Is that comfy?
At the Bondi Clinic, Rose has brought in 11-week-old Anika, desperate for Chris's help for the little girl's deformed leg.
You're going to be very brave.
The poor Akita puppy has had a rough start to life and was recently surrendered to the Animal Welfare League.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
When I first saw Anika, I saw that leg and was kind of a little bit overwhelmed. I really hope that it's not causing her any pain. That's the main thing that I'm concerned about, really her quality of life. And I'm really hoping that Dr. Chris can get to the bottom of it.
Hey there. How are
G'day,
you?
Chris. Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. This is Anika.
Yeah, this is Anika.
And what about you?
Yep.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can help you.
Yeah, okay.
Come on in.
Thanks very much. Come on.
No matter how much it feels like you've seen animals with all sorts of different problems, there's still that moment when I first lay eyes on Anika where I think, wow, what is going on with that leg? Yeah, that's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah, me too.
Do you know much about how she came to be this way?
She was apparently born like this, and the owners who bred her just brought her in and couldn't afford any treatment.
Well, as far as you know, there's no history of any deformities or any other problems.
We think that she was part of a litter and the rest of the litter died, and the mum was in labour for about 3 days.
Okay, so it's obviously a pretty tough start to life for any dog, and I mean she's clearly lucky to be here if all the rest of them didn't make it.
Yeah, definitely. She's pretty special.
This sort of situation is certainly a first for me. I've never really seen a case like it, and there's a lot of wondering just how I'm going to be able to help her. And I guess if there's one thing that's probably a little bit sobering is that obviously the leg is the most obvious issue that Anika has, but to be born into a litter where none of the other puppies have survived, the concern is she may actually have other issues there as well.
Oh, I really hope not.
Obviously with that twisted leg being such a dominant feature, the temptation is to rush in there and just look at that. But there's every chance that what we're looking at here is a genetic abnormality, a deformity. So if you have one issue, quite often you have a second one, and that is certainly a worry.
Good girl.
All right, well, let's have a look over you, miss. One of those areas where you often do see a lot of problems in dogs that genetically aren't quite right is in the cleft palate, so just in the roof of their mouth.
Yeah.
It's important in such a sad case like Anika to try to find some positives, and already we do have some, because her eyes, her ears and her mouth are actually looking pretty good. All right, so let's just have a listen to her chest and just see what's happening internally. All right, so look, the heart actually sounds pretty good.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah, I mean, the beats are quite clear. They're quite strong, and her lung sounds are also very clear.
It's a relief for carer Rose to hear that so far, Anika is looking good. So Chris can now turn his attention to the front legs.
So I can feel her scapula, her shoulder blade there. Hello, thank you, it's very kind. Yeah, bit of encouragement, thank you. And we go down to a humerus there. All right, so we're feeling pretty good. Nice, free and easy.
Good.
Which is very important, because at the moment this front left leg is doing a lot of work. It's really supporting that whole front half of her body.
Good, yay.
All right, let's look at this leg.
Okay.
Starting at the top, there is a shoulder blade there. So that part feels like it's formed relatively normally. As I work my way down across her shoulder blade and then onto a humerus, everything's feeling pretty normal. But suddenly, once I reach Anika's elbow, things take a dramatic turn. We're really 90 degrees off where we need to be, which is a long way.
Yeah.
It feels like everything from the shoulder joint down isn't how it should be.
Okay.
One of the front leg's main jobs is to be able to reach forward and allow a step to take place. But in the case of this leg, the range of motion just isn't good enough. So with those toes pointing so far back, they're never going to support the weight in the position they're in.
Right.
And there's no clear definition of her individual toes.
Yeah, right.
So we know she's got feeling in the upper part of the leg, because she doesn't like it when I push it forward.
Right.
But I'm very keen to see if she's got feeling in her toes,
Okay.
because that'll tell us whether we have a nerve running all the way down to the bottom of this leg.
Oh, right.
I'm squeezing really hard there. There's nothing there, is there?
Yep, she's not responding.
Suddenly, we arrive at what might be the most dramatic finding yet. Anika has no feeling in that paw. If she can't feel in that leg, it really limits what we can do with it. And obviously, I'm, at the moment, just trying to think of every single possibility we can come to and arrive at to give her the best possible life, because that's what it's all about with her. She's a puppy. She should be tearing around playing. She should be having the time of her life. But for her, short little bursts are even too much.
Anika's a gorgeous puppy. Just the thought of her being in pain or being exhausted means her quality of life is compromised, and I can't watch a dog going through that. There's just nothing more heartbreaking, and I'm choking up just at the thought of it, because it's really, really sad.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I guess, the living proof of why she does need something to be done.
Yeah, that's really heartbreaking. I just want her to be okay.
Yeah. What I'll do, could I get you to stand just here with her, and then I'm going to stand up this end, and hopefully when I call her, she'll come running towards me, because I want to see how those legs of hers move.
All right. You can do it.
Rose has brought Anika to me in the hope of me providing her with a good quality of life, a positive outlook, but I can't do that unless I know exactly how she's walking right now. Anika, come on, come here, come here, come here. Good effort. Watching dogs with 3 functional legs walk is always an amazing thing to see, but in Anika's case, she does something that's quite surprising. So, it's obviously not easy for her. Each of those steps is an effort, but she is still in the learning stage.
Yep.
Can we do it one more time?
Sure.
Because there's something that I noticed there that I want to look at more closely.
Come on, baby.
I keep on reminding myself of the fact that Anika's 7 kilos now. She could be 40 kilos one day.
Go to Chris. Come here. Go to Chris.
And the way she walks right now, I don't believe is sustainable. If you look closely, at the same time that this leg goes forward, this leg here, in trying to do what it wants to do and actually walk, actually pulls back.
Right.
When it does that, it does something to the way she walks. It actually throws her off balance.
Poor thing, that must be hard.
Yeah. When walking on 3 legs is hard enough, having this leg do that to her is an even bigger issue for her.
It's going to be impossible.
It's going to make it really hard. The best thing now is to take an x-ray.
Okay.
Now, an x-ray is going to tell us exactly what's happening structurally with this leg.
Righto.
We now know more about what's happening functionally, but once we know what's happening internally with the bones, then we then have all the information we need to make a judgment call on what we can do for that leg.
Okay.
Every single step here is revealing more and more about how Anika lives her life. But if she's going to live a happy life long term, we need a solution. And that solution ultimately revolves around what's happening on the inside of this leg. So are you okay if I take her through for an x-ray now?
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'll let you know exactly what we find.
Yeah, baby, be brave. You be brave. Let's go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Bye. See you, Annie.
It's okay. It's okay. There we go. Yep.
X-ray.
Can't say I've ever seen an x-ray like this before. This forearm here, which is, you know, the equivalent of this on me, that should be about twice the length. And it's just not really going to its full distance. And these toes here, it's just essentially a little bag of bones. And looking at this x-ray, it really confirms that what we're looking at here is a deformity. There are a lot of different ways to interpret this result here. For me, it is a good thing. What we're seeing here is confirmation of what we've been essentially proving over the last few hours. So to me now, it's clear how we provide Anika with a bright future, how we can actually give her the rest of her life pain-free and full of happiness. There is only one answer. Hey Rose. All right. So, to me, the easiest way to open up a future is quite simply to get rid of that leg.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I guess if that's what you think is going to be the right thing, that's all I want.
Yeah. There's no way of saving the leg. I think that's the thing to remember here. There's no way of putting sensation into a leg that has none.
Yeah.
There's no way of rebuilding a leg when the bones actually aren't there in the first place.
Fair enough.
And so that's where the challenge is. And the positive outlook here is the fact that she'll do brilliantly without this leg holding her back.
Yeah, it's really kind of overwhelming at the moment, but I know that this is the right thing and I've just got to stay strong for her.
Right.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you very much. Bye, Annie. You'll be a good girl.
See you soon.
Thank you.
You ready for this? It's going to be a good thing for you. Yeah. You're going to be fine. How's that feeling, little one? My whole mission here is to really make sure that Anika's quality of life is improved and set her up what should be a happy future ahead. But that future won't be happy unless she can walk well.
All right, let's get started.
Vet nurse Liesl is assisting Chris with a difficult operation.
The challenge at the moment is really working my way down through the skin, through the muscle layers, past the blood vessels to where I need to actually go through the leg. Just getting to a collection of nerves and blood vessels here. They're only small, but they can still bleed, so we're just going to clamp those off before we cut them. How's she doing?
She's been stable the whole way through.
Okay.
Once Chris is safely through the layers of muscle, he can begin delicately severing the nerves in the top of the leg.
Normally when you cut through nerves like I'm doing now, you get a twitching down the leg. But as I'm cutting through these, nothing's actually happening. So it is further confirmation that for whatever reason, the nerve function to the bottom part of this leg just is non-existent. Okay, Anika. There we go.
Finally, the deformed leg is removed.
It's actually come off reasonably well. I mean, we've managed to preserve all those blood vessels. Those nerves, we've cut through those with no major problems. So now comes the next challenge. It's sewing all together. Okay, one suture to go. Okay, we are done. We're looking pretty good. It's like there was no leg there at all. Anika's come through that operation remarkably well. When you consider how young she is and still how small she is, losing a significant part of your body like that, it is going to take its toll. From here, she just has to rest overnight, and tomorrow morning we'll start to see the future Anika, the new Anika, and hopefully the happy Anika. There you go. You threw the hardest part. You just need to have a good sleep now. Yeah? Yes. Hello again. Look at you, huh?
At the Bondi Clinic, it's been just one day since Chris removed little Anika's badly deformed front leg.
You bounced back, haven't you?
The 11-week-old rescue pup is recovering remarkably well and is already wreaking havoc.
This just says it all, doesn't it? This? Yeah? And this, right? Yeah, it's been quite the night. Anika recovered quite quickly to the point where she was licking her suture line and then decided to chew her own drip out, which is why she's now wearing the cone of shame.
Good girl.
There we go. We get to see now, don't we? Yeah? Look in the eyes and say, why did you do it? Because you can get away with it, that's why you did it. Alright, let's have a look at this wound. Actually looking pretty good. We're not overly sore either, which is nice. I mean, it's going to be sensitive. So far, so good. I mean, she's bounced back remarkably well, and importantly, the area where we took the leg off looks healthy. Alright, good progress. Although you and your tongue already knew that, didn't they? Every indication from Anika this morning is she's ready to go, but we need to see how this body performs. Anika, come here. Anika, come here. Come here. Oh, yes. Look at you go. This is the first time I've seen Anika run. Call her again.
Anika, come here, Papa. Come here, sweetie. Oh, you're so good.
You look at her face and it is full of delight. Suddenly, there's now so much to be excited about for Anika. And I know Rose is going to be desperate to see this. You ready for your moment? Yeah? Let's do it. Hey, Rose.
Yes?
Come out here.
Okay. Oh, baby. Oh, look at you. I missed you.
Look at this.
Wow, I know. I haven't seen that tail move for a while. Seeing her run, there's just no words. My heart's just bursting. I was expecting to see her, look like she was in some kind of pain, but true Anika form, she's fantastic. She's such a trooper.
So she's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And the wound looks good. It'll slowly flatten out and then really improve.
Righto.
All right, well, there's only one thing left to do.
Thank you so much.
And we're over to you.
Okay.
All right. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Very special to her.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
No problem.
That's unreal. All right.
All right.
We'll keep you posted.
Please do.
Thank you.
I feel like I've got to know Anika so well, so quickly. And it's sad to see her go, but that sadness is really mixed with optimism because that personality of hers will go a long way with the right family. And I'm sure she'll find it.
Let's go find you a home, huh? Good girl. Let's go.
If you guys loved that video, great. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel below. That way.